Let me ask you something. When did you last feel truly alive? Not chasing someone, not chasing money, not chasing an image of who you think you should be. Just alive, still, grounded, present. Most men can't answer that question, because most men have been taught that life is a race, a competition, a constant pursuit of something out there, as if peace were hiding behind the next goal, the next woman, the next validation, the next win. But tell me this, if chasing was the answer, why are the ones who chase the hardest also the ones who feel the emptiest? Why do you feel burned out after every victory? Why does every moment of achievement fade faster than the high that got you there? Because the truth is simple, brother. What you chase, you confirm you don't have. And that's the trap. You see, we live in a world that glorifies the hunt. Get more, be more, prove more. But what if the real power wasn't in chasing, but in stopping? What if the secret wasn't in the next pursuit, but in the next breath? A Stoic man doesn't run toward peace, he becomes it. He understands that everything external is fleeting. People change, money fades, attention shifts. The more you depend on those things, the more they own you. So while everyone else is chasing illusions, the Stoic stands still, calm, steady, unmoved. He realizes that control doesn't come from chasing what moves. It comes from mastering what stays, the mind, the breath, the self. When you stop chasing, something incredible happens. The world starts to slow down. You begin to notice the quiet details, the stillness in your mind, the softness in the air, the silence between thoughts. You stop trying to possess life, and you start experiencing it. You stop searching for meaning, and you start living with it. Because chasing is noise, it's desperation disguised as ambition. Living, on the other hand, is awareness. It's movement without attachment, effort without obsession. And this is where most people never arrive, because they're addicted to motion, terrified of stillness. But the Stoic knows stillness is the highest form of strength. So before we go any further, take a moment to breathe, to just exist. Let go of the chase for a moment and feel what's left behind. That stillness, that peace, that's who you really are beneath all the noise. In this video, we'll go deeper. We'll break the illusion of chasing, uncover the Stoic truth about desire, and learn how to stop running from yourself and start living with yourself. If you're ready to let go of the noise and step into your power, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to become a Stoic soldier. This is not just philosophy, this is freedom. Now let's begin. The chase always starts small. You tell yourself, once I get this, then I'll finally be happy. It begins with a goal. Then it becomes a pattern. Then it becomes your identity. You start chasing success, attention, perfection, or love, as if your worth depends on it. And before you even realize it, you're not living life anymore. You're sprinting through it, constantly reaching for a finish line that keeps moving further away. That's the illusion of chasing. It gives you the feeling of progress while quietly draining your soul. You start believing the next thing will fix the emptiness. The next person will bring peace. The next achievement will silence your doubts. But peace never comes from what you gain. It comes from what you stop needing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The modern world has forgotten this truth. We've replaced stillness with stimulation, wisdom with distraction, meaning with metrics. Every scroll, every like, every new purchase feeds that hungry part of the mind that says, just one more. But the Stoic man sees through it. He knows that desire is endless. It multiplies the moment you feed it. You don't satisfy desire by fulfilling it. You starve it by understanding it. Seneca once said, "He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. That's the illusion. Your mind tells you that happiness is in the future, so you run faster, work harder, love louder, always trying to arrive somewhere else. But here's the truth that Stoicism whispers. You were already there. You've just been too distracted to notice. You chase because you believe something is missing, but the chase itself is what keeps you incomplete. It's a loop that never ends, because the moment you catch what you're after, your mind finds something else to want. It's a treadmill disguised as a journey. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't reject desire. They simply refused to be enslaved by it. They knew that chasing comes from fear, fear of not being enough, fear of being forgotten, fear of standing still. But fear is the one thing that keeps you from ever feeling free. So stop for a second. Look around you. Look at how much energy you've spent chasing what can vanish overnight. Relationships, status, validation. You're not chasing things, you're chasing feelings. And those feelings don't live in the world outside you, they live in the calm mind within you. Once you understand that, the illusion collapses. You realize you were never chasing peace, you were running away from it, because peace was always still, waiting for you to stop moving. The Stoics understood something the modern world has forgotten, that desire is not freedom, it's dependency. Every time you want something outside of yourself, you hand over a piece of your peace. You give your emotions to outcomes you can't control, people you can't predict, and futures that may never come. Desire, when unchecked, becomes a quiet form of slavery. Epictetus said it clearly. Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desires, but by eliminating them. And that's the essence of Stoic truth. Not that you must reject life, but that you must no longer be ruled by it. When you learn to want less, everything you already have begins to feel like more. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Not on the woman who left you, not on the job that rejected you, not on the success you're still chasing." True happiness comes when your mind stops being a battlefield and starts being a sanctuary. The Stoic doesn't seek pleasure, he seeks peace. He doesn't chase desire, he studies it. He asks, why do I crave this? What am I trying to fill? Because every desire points to an emptiness inside, and most men spend their whole lives trying to fill that emptiness with noise, with people, with possessions, when what it really needs is silence. Desire says, I'll be happy when. Stoicism says, I'm content now. That doesn't mean you stop growing or striving. It means you stop attaching your peace to outcomes. You still work hard, you still aim high, but you no longer need the result to feel whole. You move with purpose, not desperation. You act without anxiety. Because the moment you learn to want nothing, you gain everything. You become the calm in the storm, the man who doesn't beg for what he already has within, the one who can sit in an empty room, alone, and still feel complete. That's real wealth. That's real power. Desire will always whisper, there's more out there. But the Stoic answers, there's enough in here. That's the shift that changes your life. When your happiness stops being conditional and starts being internal. One of the most dangerous forms of chasing isn't for success or money or even love. It's validation. The need to be seen, to be liked, to be approved of. That's the silent slavery most people never escape. They don't realize it, but every time they alter themselves to be accepted, they hand away another piece of their soul. You see, validation is addictive because it feels like love, but it isn't. It's control. It's the world saying, behave this way, speak this way, look this way, and then we'll approve of you. And men fall for it every day. They change their goals to please others. They sacrifice their peace for attention. They base their worth on how much they're wanted, and all the while their spirit slowly decays. Epictetus warned us, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The Stoic man knows he doesn't need the world to clap for him to know his worth. He moves in silence because his validation comes from within. He doesn't chase admiration. He earns it through presence, discipline, and consistency. When you crave validation, you become easy to manipulate. When you no longer need it, you become impossible to control. The man who doesn't chase approval is free, because no praise can elevate him and no insult can shake him. He's anchored, he's whole, he lives by principle, not by permission. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that. You already have a voice inside that tells you what's right, but you drown it out with the noise of everyone else's opinions. The Stoic path isn't about becoming emotionless, it's about becoming self-defined. You stop asking, "Do they like me?" and start asking, "Do I respect myself?" Because when you start living in alignment with your values, the need for validation fades. Your peace stops depending on applause. That's the shift. When you no longer chase the eyes of others, you finally start seeing yourself clearly. And that clarity, that calm, that's where real freedom begins. Here's the paradox that most people never understand. When you stop chasing, life starts chasing you. When you stop running after things, they begin to move in your direction. Because chasing comes from scarcity, but calm comes from strength. The more you chase, the more you tell the universe you don't have. The more you stand still in peace, the more you signal that you already do. It's like standing in front of still water. When you thrash around, it ripples, it distorts. You can't see anything clearly. But when you're calm, when you're steady, the reflection appears. That's how reality works. The moment you stop grasping, you begin to receive. The woman who once ignored you begins to notice. Opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly start aligning. But it's not because the world changed, it's because you did. When you stop chasing, you move from desperation to direction. You're no longer begging for things to go your way. You're simply walking your path, knowing that what's meant for you will never need to be forced. That's the way of the Stoic. He doesn't cling, he doesn't crave, he simply creates space for what aligns. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." And that's the secret. When you stop fighting against life and start flowing with it, obstacles turn into teachers, rejection becomes redirection, silence becomes guidance. The universe starts speaking to you in the language of peace, not panic. You've probably felt it before, those moments when you stopped caring so much and suddenly everything just seemed to fall into place. That's no coincidence, that's detachment. The Stoics understood that what we chase controls us, but what we allow finds us. When you no longer need something, you stop pushing it away with neediness. When you're content, you vibrate differently. You move with certainty, not chaos. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to attract, but because you've stopped chasing. And people feel that. They can sense a man who's anchored in his own energy. He doesn't demand attention. He commands it. That's when life starts to flow again, not when you run toward it, but when you stand still and let it unfold. Because a man who doesn't chase doesn't lose. He attracts through stillness, patience, and quiet confidence. So stop running, breathe, let things come to you, because the more you release, the more you receive. Every moment you spend chasing something, you leave the present moment behind. You live in a future that doesn't exist, in a fantasy that always feels just out of reach. You're physically here, but mentally you're elsewhere. always wondering what's next, always reaching, always waiting, always missing now. That's the quiet tragedy of chasing. It steals your life one moment at a time. You think you're living, but you're not. You're running, you're scrolling, you're comparing, you're trying to catch up to a version of yourself that the world told you to become. And in the process, you lose the only thing that ever truly existed, the present. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Not yesterday's mistakes, not tomorrow's worries, the present, because that's where life actually happens. The more you chase, the more you create distance between you and reality. You forget that the only peace you'll ever experience is the peace you can feel right now. When you're chasing, you're living in if only. If only I had her back. If only I made more money. If only they respected me. But if only is an illusion. It's a mirage that keeps your mind thirsty and your soul restless. Presence, on the other hand, is power. It's awareness. It's the moment when you stop analyzing life and actually start experiencing it. When you stop running from your thoughts and simply observe them. When you can feel your breath, hear the quiet around you, and know this moment is enough. Chasing kills that. It replaces gratitude with greed. It replaces awareness with anxiety. It keeps you living for later instead of living for now. And the irony, later never arrives. Because the moment you get there, your mind is already chasing the next there. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Every moment spent chasing what you can't control is time lost from mastering what you can, your thoughts, your reactions, your peace. When you finally learn to be still, something miraculous happens. You begin to see again. You notice the small details you used to overlook, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of your breath, the strength of your stillness. You stop needing life to be different and start appreciating that it already is. That's what the Stoics meant by living in alignment. You stop chasing the illusion of a better life, and you start living the one in front of you. Because peace doesn't come when everything changes. It comes when you do. To live like a Stoic is to live differently. It's to understand that strength doesn't come from chasing, it comes from stillness. Not from the noise of ambition, but from the discipline of control. Because anyone can chase, but few can stand still and let life unfold without fear. That's real power, the ability to remain grounded when everything around you tries to pull you back into chaos. Stoic living isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things, for the right reasons, in the right state of mind. It's about striving less for what fades and standing firm in what lasts: character, virtue, self-respect, peace. The Stoic doesn't need the crowd to cheer. He doesn't need the world to notice. He doesn't move to impress. He moves because his soul demands excellence, not applause. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength that one line defines everything. You can't control what happens, but you can always control your response. That's what separates the ordinary from the grounded, the man who's ruled by emotion and the man who rules over it. When you live this way, striving gives way to stillness. You stop fighting to prove your worth. You start embodying it. You start to see that every external chase was just a reflection of internal imbalance. You were trying to fix the world because you hadn't yet mastered your own. The Stoic way is not about retreating from life, it's about meeting it with serenity. It's waking up early, not because you have to, but because discipline brings freedom. It's speaking less, but with more weight. It's listening more, feeling deeper, observing longer. It's finding calm not in control, but in acceptance. You start realizing that your peace is your power, that no argument, no rejection, no failure can shake a man who's rooted in himself. You stop needing the world to bend because you've already found your center. That's stillness. That's Stoic living. When you choose stillness over striving, you stop surviving and start being. You move through life with quiet strength, unbothered by storms, untouchable by noise. Because now the game has changed. You're no longer chasing, you're flowing, you're living. There's a moment in every man's life when something inside him clicks, when he realizes he's done running, done chasing, done trying to prove himself to people who never understood him. That's the shift, from chasing to becoming, from pursuit to presence, from noise to knowing. You see, when you chase something, you're trying to possess it, but when you become something, you attract it naturally. The Stoic understands this truth. You don't need to chase love. Become love. You don't need to chase respect. Embody discipline. You don't need to chase peace. Practice stillness. What you are will always draw what matches it. Chasing is external. Becoming is internal. Chasing says, I need something outside me to complete me. Becoming says, everything I need is already within. That's the essence of Stoic philosophy, to rule the inner world, not be ruled by the outer one. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. That's the mark of the Stoic man. He doesn't preach his values, he lives them quietly, consistently, and fully. His silence has more impact than another man's speeches. His composure says what words never could. When you stop chasing, your energy changes. You stop moving like a beggar, and you start moving like a builder. You start focusing less on outcomes and more on alignment. You stop trying to convince others and start convincing yourself through action. You start becoming the kind of man who no longer waits for peace, because he is peace. And that shift radiates. People can feel it. They can sense the difference between a man who needs something and a man who's already whole. The world starts responding differently to you, not because you're lucky, but because you're finally aligned. You've moved from hunger to harmony, from emptiness to essence. When you make that shift, you stop being reactive to life and start co-creating with it. You stop saying, I hope, and start saying, I am. You stop chasing things that run away and start living in a way that makes them come naturally. That's not arrogance, it's energy. It's the quiet authority of a man who has mastered his inner world. Because once you realize that everything external fades, you begin investing in what lasts. The discipline, the calm, the integrity, the peace. Those are the traits that make you unshakable, and once you build them, you never have to chase again. There's a freedom that no one talks about, the freedom that comes when you finally let go. Not when you win, not when you prove your point, not when you get what you wanted, but when you simply release. When you stop clinging to outcomes, stop trying to control how things unfold, and just trust that what's meant for you will arrive when you're ready for it. That's real liberation. You see, letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving space. It means allowing life to breathe again without your anxiety choking it. It's the act of stepping back and realizing that peace was never in the result. It was in your ability to stay calm regardless of it. That's why the Stoics taught acceptance, not apathy, because a calm mind is the only true form of control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs." That's not resignation, it's wisdom. It's understanding that the universe doesn't make mistakes, only men do when they resist its rhythm. Every rejection, every silence, every loss, they weren't punishments, they were direction. They were life saying, "This isn't where you're meant to be. Keep walking." When you let go, you stop fighting the current. You stop swimming against life. you start flowing with it. And in that flow, you find something sacred: ease. You stop overthinking, you stop forcing, you stop needing. And in that emptiness, you rediscover yourself. Letting go feels like dying at first, because it kills the version of you that clung to control. But on the other side of that death is peace. It's the calm realization that everything you lost only made space for what you were always meant to receive. The Stoic man doesn't grip life with fear, he holds it gently with faith. He trusts that what belongs to him will recognize him. He trusts that silence is not punishment, but protection. He trusts that by surrendering, he doesn't lose power, he becomes it. And that's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing control, you gain it. The moment you stop holding on so tightly, everything you were meant to hold begins to rest naturally in your hands. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Freedom isn't found in what you conquer, it's found in what you release. At some point, every man learns the greatest truth life can teach: that peace isn't found in pursuit, it's found in presence. You realize that all along, it was never about what you could catch, but what you could keep within yourself. You stop asking, "When will I have enough?" and start saying, "I already am enough." And that's the moment you stop chasing and start living. Because what you were chasing was never out there. It was always within you. The confidence, the calm, the power, the purpose. They were buried beneath all the noise, all the striving, all the illusions. And now, through stillness, you've uncovered them. That's what it means to live stoically, to walk with serenity through storms, to act without attachment, to love without losing yourself. You've learned that control isn't about gripping tighter, it's about letting go. You've learned that validation from others fades, but self-respect lasts forever. You've learned that the man who no longer needs to chase becomes the man everyone feels drawn toward, because he's grounded, because he's rare, because he's free. So if you're hearing this now, understand, this isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of mastery. The moment you stop chasing what runs and start living what stays. Be still, move with purpose, speak with clarity, detach from noise. This is the way of the Stoic soldier. If this message spoke to you, if you're ready to master your emotions, reclaim your focus, and live with peace that no one can take away, then make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to join the ranks of the Stoic army. This is Stoic Blessing, where silence becomes strength, where detachment becomes power, and where peace becomes your way of life. Until next time, brother, stay calm, stay grounded, stay unshakable.